Okay, before getting into the subject of clothing, it will be helpful for you to understand that the concept of clothing in the future is not as important as the concept of clothing is today. In fact, the concept of clothing will be considered an afterthought in the future, a quaint nod to the past, if you will. Public nudity will be commonplace in the future. Some of you may be thinking that the ability for anyone and everyone to walk around naked in public without encountering legal repercussions is the direct result or the direct effect of decades worth of built-up moral degradation and the so-called shedding of an old world puritanical value system, to which I respond, no. Okay, the reason for public nudity, and I'm going to do my best to keep this as clean and as PG rated as I can, is because, well, how should I put this? Let's just say that men at this point in time are undergoing performance enhancement augmentations to certain parts of their anatomy, and the dimensions of these parts reach a level of such over-the-top absurdity that wearing a pair of pants becomes less of an option and more of an impossibility. Now, you are probably wondering why all the men are doing this. Short answer, they are trying to secure their species' survival in the machine age, and augmented appendages, amongst other things, are the best way they know how to do that at this point. I talk more about this subject in greater detail in an upcoming video entitled Scrotox Revisited. But in a nutshell, robots will become better lovers, better husbands, better fathers. They have more energy, more stamina. They have more patience, more intelligence. They are better listeners. They have a better attitude. They are stronger. They never fail in their pursuits, etc., etc. And what happens in time, as word gets out and notes are compared, females begin to ask the question, is the grass really greener on the other side? While gravitating towards these robots. Males, sensing a threat, then resort to gimmicks like Scrotox and penile extenders, in the hopes that they can gain some kind of advantage over a machine that is superior to them in every conceivable way. So everything trickles down from this behavior exhibited by the humans, and as a result from that, clothing plays a less important role in society. In fact, at this point it can be safely said that the only use for clothing is to protect the human body from the elements. That's it. So now that you know this, you can now better understand what I'm about to explain to you in regards to the type of clothing available as part of a universal basic income package. Very quickly, this won't take long here, let me take you through the daily routine of how a UBI recipient receives fresh clothing. Alright, you wake up in the morning, you get in the shower. The problem is, unlike the showers we know and love today, they are vastly different in the future. As a result of a long-standing effort funded and spearheaded, largely in part by the almighty Nestle Corporation, water conservation is kind of a big deal, more so now than ever before, and using water to take showers is considered wasteful. Because of this, researchers were tasked with the job of finding eco-friendly ways in which humans can cleanse themselves. Nanotech ended up being the solution to this problem. In the morning, you get into what appears to be a shower and you open what appears to be a valve. But instead of water coming through that valve, millions of nanomites emerge, instantly canvassing a human's body exfoliating the skin, blasting away dead skin cells, and bad bacteria while keeping the good bacteria. The nanomites are divided into groups of two. In one group you have the scrubbers, and in the other group you have the sweepers, and in a matter of seconds the whole process is complete from head to toe. After the nanomites leave the body, you stand under a series of shower heads, and just like before, you open a completely different valve. A burgundy-colored diluted syrup from the heads fall at a sort of moderate pace, and you let it coat your entire body. The liquid then expands as it solidifies into a sort of like a foam-like substance with a texture not unlike that of a fruit roll-up, which covers the entire body. A drone-like robotic machine which looks like an old-school football helmet without the face guard, then hovers down upon the human's head, trimming away excess material safely and neatly. It also trims away material from the hands and feet. If you have to go to the bathroom, you can either rip off the material or simply go in it. At the end of the day, when it's time to go to bed, you just rip off the material and throw it right out the window. The plant-based material is completely biodegradable, so there you have it. That is showers in the future. As we enter the machine age, your job in life as a UBI recipient is not necessarily to live, but to merely exist. And with that in mind, let's go to the last subject, and that is shelter. UBI recipients will be sheltered in a 10 by 10 by 10 square foot modular pod-like structure, which are all housed within a very tall skyscraper. Most people would immediately think that that living space is too small, and the truth is you can actually have a bigger space than that, but you'll have to pay for it out of your own pocket. As part of the UBI agreement, this is what you get for a living arrangement, basically the bare minimum. As I mentioned, this 10-foot square pod is inside a very high structure. One of my Facebook videos, I mentioned an article regarding a new material that is lightweight but also very strong, which means structures in the future will reach heights never heard of or seen of before inside this very tall structure. Okay, when you look out your window, you are not really going to see any kind of civilization. What you're going to be seeing most of the time are white clouds, a blue sky, perhaps a passing bird, airplane, or whatever. These pods are going to have two windows on two opposing walls. On the adjacent sides, you're going to have a sliding window partitions into the next room, so you can interact with your neighbors. It should be made clear that this is not a prison. You will be able to talk with your neighbors as well as be able to look outside. In addition to all of this, each pod will be equipped with Facebook's virtual reality social media console, which at this point will probably be reaching the second phase, which is sort of an implant in your head. So if you want to lapse into a virtual daydream to break up the monotony of your existence, you can do that at any time. That is why having such a minimal existence will be of little concern to most people. Because as boring as life gets, there's always the virtual reality social media platform where you drift and you can go anywhere you want. All you have to do is close your eyes. Let me explain the psychological effects of living in an environment where whenever you look outside, you see nothing but sky. The great big sky is one of the most omnipresent scenes of nature and one of the most mysterious. It is ever changing from day to day, yet at the same time it is never changing throughout the course of one's lifetime. There is an infinite quality about the sky. like trying to find where a perfect circle ends and where it begins. But there is enough change, however, birds, planes, thunderstorms, sunrise, sunset, that occurs, but the sky itself does not change in any kind of permanent way, and it is believed that small changes occurring against a never-changing backdrop, it's sort of believed that that has a psychologically soothing effect amongst the inhabitants who dwell within these structures. That is not to say, of course, that UBI buildings are not without their troubled tenants from time to time. There are times when residents can go a little crazy and are put on sort of a suicide watch. Moods and mood swings are easily detected by wearable technology. I think at this time Facebook has their own watch, and if you think that that's unbelievable, keep in mind I also predicted that Facebook would have, in my previous video series, Facebook series, I predicted Facebook would have their own digital assistant in due time, and it wasn't but maybe 5 or 6 months that Facebook did come out with their own digital assistant. Albeit nothing like I explained, but nevertheless, an assistant nonetheless. So I'm telling you right now, you heard it here first, they're going to come out with a watch. So anyway, getting off track here. So this wearable technology then, this watch, will be able to detect moods with amazing accuracy. One interesting feature is that built into these pods, that is a technology that is able to subdue unruly residents without actually harming them in the process. So let's say that a resident gets uppity and starts smashing things, starts running around while slamming into walls, so on and so forth. Well, outfitted in the corner of each pod is something called Bola Wrap. Bola Wrap is basically a high-powered lasso gun that can quickly fire barbed Kevlar cords towards unruly citizens at speeds up to 640 feet per second. Right now, this technology is being tested by various police departments around the country to see if it can be proven effective for their line of work. However, if proven successful, it could ultimately find their way into one of those pods. I've posted a link below so you can read more about the capabilities of this emerging technology. Okay, that concludes this main topic for this video. I hope you found it informative and enlightening.